How do you do, fellow kids?
It's a me.
That's right, I'm finally back with the first episode of Project Console's Devlog series. This time, we're gonna start how every great game starts with the main character. Since we're gonna be staring at this dude for a long time, it's essential that he plays and looks very well. I could just use the Unreal's mannequin for this part since it's just a prototype at this stage after all. But where's the fun in that? Ta-da! Nothing too fancy since this won't be the final design or anything. As a matter of fact, I haven't even named it yet since this is just a prototype. So let's just call him Proto for now. Now, to be honest, this was already done by the time my first video went out. So why did it take this much time, you ask? That's cause I did 2 big oopsies this past month. You see, someone thought it would be a good idea to make a custom skeleton for this bad boy. Don't get me wrong, it did work perfectly at that time, and I had made all these animations for it as well. But there was a slight problem when I wanted to add IK for Proto's legs in Unreal. For those who don't know, IK stands for Inverse Kinematics. Basically, in our case here, it makes sure that whatever surface he stands on, his legs match it. The default character UE5 gives us in the starter content already has all these things set up. And I wanted to add those to my character as well. But since the rigs didn't match, it wouldn't work. I could look more into how these things work and make the setup for the IK myself, which would be the obvious and the smarter choice since I can use that knowledge in the future as well. But I could also instead download this Unreal Skeleton add-on for Blender and remove the existing skeleton and replace it, which is exactly what I did. And I had to redo all the animations I made as well. But the good thing is, now I can just import this into Unreal and use the skeleton there. Also, all the animations they have in the engine as well is mine now. I mean, this really was a blessing in disguise actually. Now I can just make my animations in Cascador using the Unreal rig they have as well. With all that done, we can finally get into the character mechanics. Okay, let's put a zoom in there. So, we have all the basic locomotive capabilities all done, like walking, running, jumping around, rolling for dodging, falling down, all those done. Aside from that, we also have the ability to grab onto ledges like, god damn it, it just does that sometimes, never mind. And climb them using the interact button. Or else you can also just use the jump button while in that state to jump up the ledge like this for a more faster way of getting around, I guess. That's all the basic stuff done. Now for the combat section of our mechanics, you can press the melee combat button to bring up a sword in your hand. It goes away if you roll around or something, and you can just summon it back by pressing the same button again. And if you press that button one more time, you can do slashes like this. There's 2 variations of this slash. You can alternate between them if you like press them consecutively. There's also the focus mode, which is sort of like a guard state you can go into by pushing down the left trigger. Movement speed is reduced in this state, but you can guard against attacks. You can also do a parry by pressing the attack button while in this focus mode. Sort of like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom does this. But I might just simplify it and do like a parry window thing, where it will trigger once you do the guard at perfect timing, kind of like Sekiro.
I didn't think I'd see.
Oh, and the combat stuff still has no logic behind them yet, it's just states and animation. That's why I'll do the perfect parry later after implementing some sort of enemy stuff. Now, if this was all I did, this video would have come much before this, right? That's right, this is where my second mistake comes in. You see, up until this point, I did all this logic in my player pawn, this guy over here. And it works, but the problem is for our game, there's not only one playable character, because you'll be able to control the spirits as well. And these spirits are pawns themselves. And I need to shift my currently possessed pawn from Proto to the desired spirit when needed. That's how the spirit summoning system works. That's when I found out about player controllers. What are these player controllers and pawns, you ask? Good question. Let me explain in simple terms. Player controller sort of acts like the manifestation of the player's will, and the player pawns are the actual characters you see on the game. When you need to attack something, you press a button. The controller picks it up and tells the active pawn to do the action called attack. Pawn 1 might do a sword slash, and pawn 2 might just cast Eldritch. Now you know how that works. At least how I think that works. I don't know, I'm stupid. This whole thing's at the verge of imploding at any moment. So I did that and migrated all the input related stuff into the player controller and connected these two with an interface. Now when I call this interface function here, whatever is at the other end gets executed. As for the spirits, I have a base pawn class that will act as sort of a blueprint. Get it? Blueprint. And different types of spirits, which are child pawns that inherit from it. With that, we can hold the shoulder button to bring out a wheel and choose with the right analog stick. It's the same button as before, and kablam! How about that? It's a slime spirit. I call them blobs. You know, the blobs made of water. I'm not really good at naming things. Along with this little one, I have 3 more sort of Stardust spirits planned for each main element. Now, like Pokemon, I don't think I'll be able to make hundreds of spirits or anything for this game. So instead of quantity, we'll go for quality. There's also this sort of bug I encountered that I feel like could be a good mechanic for platforming in the game. When we return from the spirit state to the player, I set it up so that the character would appear a little bit higher than the spirit. This is done to minimize the chance of player getting clipped out of bounds during this. But this kind of acts like a boost of sorts you can use in conjunction with the spirits to reach otherwise unreachable areas. Like this, see? It's kinda cool, right? This gave me an idea to chain different spirits together in succession to sequence break like speedrunners do. Of course, there's a delay on how often you can transform. Otherwise, you can just ascend into the sky by spamming it. For this to work, however, we need to give each spirit their own different enough effects, so that the players are incentivized to experiment with different synergies between spirits. To do this, we give each spirit a passive and an active ability. These are unique to each species of spirits and could be binded to either of their available moves. Like blobs take less fall damage on ground and even less damage on water due to their passive ability. Now their active allows them to jump even higher if you do the jump right after landing. Or the wind starter, which floats slowly above ground level, and the dash ability that will propel them forward. Now of course, this does mean that if I do this for all the spirits I'm gonna make, each of them needs to have different abilities like this so it doesn't get boring or repetitive. But it kinda works in our favor since we're not planning on making hundreds of them either way. It will be quite a hard task. Again, problem for the future me. I can already imagine me cursing myself for this. Anyways, I think that's all I have for this episode. Besides this, all I did was some technical stuff like source control and all. Ooh, I'm also working on a weather system for the game as well. But it's still not in a showable state yet. All I have is a day-night cycle as of now. On the next one, I think we'll spruce up this world a little bit. All I have right now is this test map and another open world sort of map. They're both kind of blank, as you can see. So we'll do some artsy stuff next time. All this coding this past month melted my pea brain. Anyways, I'm gonna go and beat up Genichiro right now. That fucker demolished me when I tried to take some footage. I swear to God, I used to beat this guy so many times.
Oh no.
Can't let it end like this, man. Ooh, an apple. Ah, shit, I forgot to show the interaction system. Ah, well, I guess you'll have to find out.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.